Hey, good morning. It's episode 950 of today's Antidote, and I'm Bob Graham. And in a minute, you're going to hear from Tom Brush. And I say that because this is how we started almost 4 years ago. And this is sort of the closing chapter. This is my last episode. We're going to talk about avoiding regrets with change. And just a little preview, I'm going to say nice things about Tom at some point. I think he's going to pick on me a little bit, and I have a hunch you're going to see Tom get a little teary, and I might get a little teary too. And even more importantly, we're going to, in real time, talk about how we can make sure that some of the things that we valued for these 950 episodes continue going forward. So all that and who knows what else on episode 950 of today's Antidote. Don't go away.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote provides an opportunity for business owners and leaders to discover what is real for them and to be impacted by what is real for others. That is the Renegade way. Let's get real. We all face challenges and get stuck occasionally and are looking for an antidote. Each weekday, this show dives into a topic that may have you stuck, frustrated, and uncertain. Our goal is to share our value in an effort to help you find that one thing, the antidote to your challenges, so that you can get results and make more money. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, Tom.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. A little. Not
I
a
almost
lot,
went back
but
to
a
the
little.
old intro just to see your old opening moves.
My old opening moves.
Yes. There might be some people who
we're
joined
gonna
us
go
more
there.
recently who aren't aware of some of the
The
past
hijinks.
things. Yes, correct.
There you go.
If I'd
Got
been more
to-
effective, I would have gone back and done some of those things. I just didn't.
You're busy. I understand. So this is the last episode we're going to do together.
Yep.
Now, I want to clear the air about a couple of things I've heard. One, you and I are not fighting. There's no animosity, right?
Correct.
This was a choice that I made that you have been absolutely supportive of in every regard.
Yeah.
As you've been through the last almost 4 years with me, in that I think the thing that probably I am most in awe of about you is that at every step that we've worked together, every morning, before the program, after the program, there's never been a moment where you were selfish. Not one. Not one ever. You were what was good for us, what was good for the people that were watching the program, and more importantly to me, what was right for me. And for those of you who joined this late in the 950 episodes, this started when COVID began, and we thought that we needed an outlet just to get us up in the morning. And through that process, Tom got to see the unraveling of my marriage pretty up close and personal, a fun divorce process, some wild dating, and now a very settled, committed relationship. And Tom, and I say that because Tom has seen all those things. And when I say Tom has seen, he's literally heard me every morning describe what's going on in my life. And I would marvel at the fact that Tom would be like, "Hey, so how are you today?" Every morning, which was really like, okay, now the floodgates are going to open. I have no idea what Bob's going to say to me. Nothing could be, and that's just my personal life. In addition to that, there's all the professional stuff.
Yes.
It's been some ups and downs, some lefts and rights, some turns and some twists, some a cavalcade of characters entering and exiting at various times in that process. So Tom has been through all that. So part of my trepidation with ending my involvement with this program is it's really been valuable to me each morning to have that anchor that you are to me, and also someone who really cares and would point out to me the things like, "Hey, have you thought about this? Hey, I hear you saying this thing." And I I'm more worried about what that looks like going forward. And you and I started to talk before the program. One of the things that's really important to me is that you and I figure out a way to stay in contact with each other. And generally, guys are really cavalier about this. Like, yeah, I'll call you. We'll get together for beer. We'll watch a football game. And never happens. It's like the work people, when you leave a job and it's like, yeah, we should have lunch. Yeah, okay. Never have lunch, or God help you, you have that one lunch and you go, okay, now I've heard about all the people at work that I really don't care about, all my former friends. I'm moving on. I want to make sure you and I don't do that, because I think our relationship that we've developed both personally and professionally is far more valuable to me than that.
I agree.
So, and also you and I really do advocate. We started this over a need to support each other. And here we are 950 episodes later. I don't think I'm at a place where I don't need your support. I don't think you're at a place where you don't value my support. So as a way to model what I think is often lacking in business, and a way to avoid regret, is to say, okay, these things are really valuable. I've worked with people in the past, bosses, and like, hey, can I call you from time to time? Yeah, that'd be great. And I've been really diligent about that. Hey, here's updating them on what's going on in my career. Here's where I am, because you never know when you're going to need them to say nice things about you for another job. And it's like, nothing's worse than calling them the night before. Hey, is it okay if I used your name on this application for reference? When they call you tomorrow, can you remind them that I did this, and you're like giving them the 10 bullet points and they have no idea what's happened in the last 3 years? Versus, hey, Tom, I'm applying for this job. We've been talking about this thing. You see how this follows. You go, oh, yeah, that's perfect. So I think there's a value in just having that relationship and really committing to it. So what's it look like for you and me? How do we preserve and protect the value that we see in each other?
Well, I think as you were talking about that, I was thinking about it a little bit before when we initially talked about it, and then I was thinking about it afterwards. And I just have to say one thing.
Go ahead.
That question of how are you doing this morning, or whatever it was that I would ask you each morning, is probably the reason that we had to use the phrase that we started at 7 a.m.
Yes, that's fair. I am the cause of 98% of that.
No, that I would put that on me, because I asked the question. I mean, I knew a lot of what was going on in your life, and I could have been just like, okay, let's just get started. We don't have time for this. And so I'll take the hit for that one. So I think, as I was saying, I was thinking about it reminds me, it's not that different, I think. I mean, it's a little different because we were more in touch this time. And when we first connected, I was in between roles and doing something else, and then took a full-time job.
I remember that.
And so we had that period of where we didn't, that period of not being around each other as much.
Because we didn't see each other at networking events. We didn't go,
correct.
Yeah, we didn't travel in the same circles.
Yep. And then I left that role and we kind of hopped right back into it. And so I think that there's the opportunity to go back to where we were, which was when we were stuck, we would call and say, hey, let's grab coffee. And again, like many of our conversations, coffee turned into a 3.5 hour breakdown of wherever one of us was and whatever the challenge it was that we were facing. And so I sort of see that as the next evolution of this is, at the time when we started this is what we needed. And now at this time, it seems like there's the opportunity for us to take on some new challenges and explore some new opportunities, while always knowing that in our back pocket we can call, connect, and get together. So I feel like we never had an issue with that before. We always just knew that, hey, if I needed to talk through somebody, I had somebody who I could do it with. And I think that's the opportunity that continues to present itself moving forward. Just so happens that over the last 3 years, and probably in some ways, gratefully so, it allowed, because you clearly needed, we were going through some challenges and you needed that space. And so that space was there every day, which was great, or at least every weekday. And I think in some regards, I needed it as well. I mean, COVID was hard on everyone, and things are, even though I don't always talk about it, things are up and down for me in my work and other things. So it happens. And also, I think one of the things, as we were talking this morning, is that it allowed me, I think, to become an even better coach. Because I think so much of
because so much of the time you were coaching me,
and I think it allowed me to get really comfortable asking questions. Because I don't think in all of that time I ever told you what you should do.
No, there were probably at least 450 days where you wanted to.
And sometimes I think you
wanted
wanted
tell me where to shove it.
No, I think sometimes there were days that I think you wanted me to tell you what to do, which we all do at times, right?
Sure.
We all get to a point where
you
like,
never
I don't know
told me what to do. In fact, there were 2 times when I did something, and a couple of days later, you would actually say something to lead me to believe that had you wanted to tell me what to do, you would have agreed with that decision. But I rarely got that from you. Here's where I think your whole theory breaks down about we'll call each other when we need each other.
Okay.
I'm not good at that. I'm just not.
You were before.
No, not nearly as much as no. The beauty of our relationship in the last couple of years is I talk to you every morning. How many mornings did you say, so what's really going on? Or many. Because I'm not someone to just, Tom, I'm having a real hard time. I have this issue with this client. I've gotten better about it because I talk to you every day. But if you put the onus on me to call you when I have a problem, you're going to hear from me twice a year because I don't reach out. Many ways.
Even now, that would still be the same? Because I think you're in a different spot than you were.
I don't like to inconvenience people. I really struggle with that. If it weren't for the fact that you and I were on 3, 5, whatever number of days it is, whichever week, I wouldn't have shared half, probably 3/4 of what I shared with you. And I think I'm very much like a lot of the people we talk to in this program, in the sense that I don't want to tell you that I'm having problems. It's one thing if you say, hey, Bob, I hear you, how'd your night go? Oh, well, I had a really bad night, blah, blah, blah. This happened. That's different than, hey, Tom, do you have a half hour for me? Because I need to unburden myself of the stupidity of my life. I'm not that guy. So if we don't commit to a regular scheduled time, much like coaching, right? I mean, one of the values that I see of coaching is, with my coach, to set time every week. I know I have that time. I can use that time however I choose. Because I spend the money on it, I see the value in it. I invest in it by bringing myself to that with, here are my issues that I need to address. If we don't do that, I think you'll hear from me maybe twice a year. Hey, and I can tell you when one will be. Your birthday? Whatever date that is, I have no idea.
It won't be my birthday, that for sure.
No, it'll be 3 days later when I see all the people saying happy birthday to you, and I go, oh, crap, it's Tom's birthday.
Fair enough.
And on March 19th every year.
Yes.
Those are 2 days. I can tell you I know myself.
Okay. So one of the things that we do with our Renegade Success Network is we allow time for a check-in and check-up. Mm-hmm. Now, with the Renegade Success Network members, it's every week because we know that there's a lot of those things going on. So as you think about your schedule going forward, how frequently or when would be a helpful check-in and check-up for you? Once a month, every other month?
Well, let's turn it around. Let's start with you, because you say there's some value in that, right? Shouldn't be all about me. So you start the debate. Is there value in you getting together with me and talking to me?
Of course. I think I've said that throughout the show that at
Okay.
every
So
stop
how
I've had.
frequently would it be of value to you?
See, I think I'm a little different in that regard.
He's more evolved than me, people. He's finally admitting it. It's taken 950 episodes.
No, I just think I had more practice at it.
At
Because
which?
What's that?
More practice at what?
At reaching out to people, say, hey, I can't figure this thing out. Can we talk about it? Do you have a few minutes? Because at every stop that I had, every job that I had someone, and I would, and the frequency of those conversations varied based on what was going on. Yet I always felt like if I had a question or a uncertainty, that I had somebody I could reach out to and say, hey, do you mind if we just talk through this for a little bit? And, and whether that was I saw them in a meeting and said, hey, can we grab coffee sometime? Or can we go, do you have a few minutes that we can talk afterwards? So I think I
give you credit. That is so not me. I do not like to show that I don't know everything. Shocking. It took 950 episodes and I finally fessed up to it.
That you're not the smartest guy in the room? Have we ever had that conversation before? So I think that's why I think I'm going to turn this around. I think that's why it's hard for me to figure it out, because I have a sense that I would do it more frequently. Now I say that, and at the same time, I know there's some other things that I'm not. So like that, I was
going to say, I'd love for your wife to weigh in on this one right now.
Well, I think
she would say otherwise.
She might. I think it's different when it comes to work. I think it's different when it comes to work. Like, because I'm pretty good about that when I work. I'm like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute about something? It's some of the other stuff. I would say I'm not as good at the personal side of it.
And what's the stuff that you and I talked about before or after the program involving me? More often than not, it was the personal stuff.
Your personal stuff.
My personal stuff that was affecting my work.
Sure.
Not that I was lousy at doing my work because personal stuff, but there were certainly times as I look back where it's like, yeah, I wasn't on my game. I mean, I can think of a good 10, 12 months where, as I look back, I was really in a different world.
Sure.
And I think part of this, the whole idea that I think I want to get across this morning is I'm being really honest about myself for a couple reasons. One, I feel like I can do that with you, and I'm trying very hard right now to have this be about you and me. It just so happens that there are people probably listening and watching going, oh my God. Second, I know that this is the opportunity for me and the growth for me from the start. Believe it or not, when we did this first episode, in my head, it was like, I'm going to help Tom through this tough time. What I think I've come to realize is in trying to help you, it's really been me that I've been helping.
Well, isn't that usually the case?
If we're willing to reach out. And I think the thing
and
that I would
realizing that there might be something different than what we expect.
Yes. And also being honest with ourselves. I'm very clear about myself. I'm not the friend who reaches out to friends. I'm not the person. Most of the people that would probably consider me a friend would be like, yeah, if I don't call Bob, probably not going to hear from him much. Not that I'm not there, but I actually, for a period of time, right when COVID started, forced myself to reach out to one person in my network of people every day, at least one. And 5 or 6 of my friends would be like, is everything okay? That's how atypical it was for me. And it probably still is.
Okay.
And I think a lot of us in business are the same way. If I reach out to someone and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this thing, especially if it's about how you generate revenue, which, by the way, hate to tell you folks, but that's what most of the things really ultimately are about.
I thought it was about something else.
What's it
we
about?
we don't have to have that conversation on air, You'll think of it at some point.
Okay.
We had another off-air conversation about what it's all really about.
Oh, we did. Yes, we did.
Yes, that every time something happens, I think it's more and more that's what it's about. But
do you want to divulge this to the audience?
No, that's a secret for us.
Feel free to call Tom or me, and we'll be happy to explain to you. It's rather fascinating.
Yes,
but I think this is the crux of coaching, right? This is the crux of what we've done with this program. How many times have you heard someone who watches this or listens to this program and says to you, you were talking about exactly what I needed to hear this morning. And what have we been talking about every day for 950 episodes? The crap we've been going through. I mean, for what, the last 7 or 8 months, we've literally been, Bob, what's going on? What's going on in your business? What's the next obstacle? What's the big, so when people think, oh, wow, you guys know exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, because we're doing the same thing.
Sure. I mean,
and I think we all are. And I think that so many times we think we're the only person going through the issue. And that is, to me, one of the things I've really had to understand. And it's what makes it possible for me to coach people.
I also think it makes it possible for people to be less impacted by what's going on. I was talking with a member of a board of a nonprofit that I'm going to do some work with, who was extolling the challenges of board members who aren't active, and how do you know, and from the conversation, it sounded like he felt like they're the only board that has those challenges, when in reality, most of the boards that I deal with have those challenges. And I think feeling like we are not alone in the situation is great in one way, in one sense, is that, okay, well, we're not the only one having this problem. And it also allows that there might be other people out there who can help you with it because they have been through it as well. And so
or they're going through it as you are. You and I really aligned over the idea that we were both doing networking events, both very frustrated by the outcomes. And we really started to align there. And that common interest that we had in, boy, there's got to be a better way to do a networking event than the way this is going right here, led us to starting to discuss more and more about what was going on with our businesses, with our life, with being an entrepreneur and being married, and some of the challenges around that until I started talking to you, I'm like, I'm the only guy dealing with this problem. And I remember we were sitting at the Panera in Hunt Valley one day outside, and you said something about how it was affecting your personal life, your business choices, and your personal life. And I was like, whoa, no way.
I said that.
I didn't say that, but that's what was going on in my head. And I think so often we think we're the only person with the problem.
Of course.
But the reality is, I've talked to a fair number of millionaires. They worry about the same thing you and I worry about. Where's the next dollar coming from? And for them, it's often even more complicated because they have employees who are counting on them. So whereas you and I are worried about making enough money to pay for ourselves, imagine having those people who you feed first, and they're counting on you, and you can't tell them the situation. So I think when you talk about change and avoiding regret, one of my regrets is not realizing that everyone is in the same situation. And every single person watching this or listening to this has made a change in their career somewhere and been worried about the outcome. Switching jobs, switching vendors, changing your website hosting, going to a
meeting time,
using an accountant, going to a lawyer, moving your office, moving out of an office, hiring, firing, all those things, changes around us. So as I talk about this change, no longer doing this program and all the stresses it can cause me, every single person here can probably relate and be like, oh yeah, I remember the time I did X or I did Y. You know, I was talking to someone a couple of weeks ago and they were talking about rerouting their vehicles for their company. and trying a different system that was going to cut down on the drive time and the miles. But there were some implications because it meant shifting customers. So having all the customers in a region on Thursday. So saying to Mrs. McGillicuddy when she calls, hey, we can have someone come out Thursday. Oh, well, it's Monday. I really was hoping you could have someone come out Tuesday.
Well, and because they're so used to coming out on whatever the regular day is with the regular deliverer, and now they have to change as well.
And my suggestion was if Mrs. McGillicuddy wants someone on Tuesday, charge her extra. I'm sorry, Thursday is the day we're in your area. If you want Tuesday, yeah, I'm sorry, we need to charge you a little extra because we have to pay extra gas. Well, lo and behold, I got a call. We're actually making more money because people want that convenience and they'll pay for the convenience.
Sure.
Should charge for that service. That was a nice giveaway.
You're a good guy, that's why.
There you go. Talk about change and avoiding regret. No, I'm kidding. But I think the thing to me is the more honest we are with ourselves, and this program over 950 episodes, I've been more honest on this program about myself and about my business and even some of my personal life than I've ever been anywhere at all. If you took these 950 episodes, packaged them into one long transcript, you would really peel the onion of Bob a lot. And I think that's helped me advance my business and my personal life because, you know, when you're on a program like this, you have to talk. And there was a point where it was like, all right, you know what, I'm just going to talk about what I know. I'm going to talk about me and come what may. And the filter got less and less. It had less and less power. But I also think that made the program more and more relevant.
Well, right, because people could relate to personal experiences sometimes differently than they can to theoretical experiences. So, I mean, right. I think that's part of something like this is figuring out how much are you going to share. Same with coaching is like at some point you have to, there is a filter and you have to determine at what point is what I'm sharing more about me and how do I help me as it is about helping them. And I think that the beauty of this show is that it's been allowed us to do both. I think it's been allowed us to talk through some of the challenges that we had or some of the thoughts or ideas or concepts that were helping us and I think adding value to the people who were able to hear the message. And so I think that that's always it's something to realize is that you sometimes the more honest you are, the more you're able to not only help yourself, you're able to help others.
I would agree with that completely. So I'm going to make a bold commitment.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to reach out to you at least once a week, at least by a text, maybe a call, some sort of interaction just to check in.
Okay.
And we'll see where it goes from there.
Is that enough, or do you want to set the first meeting date? Like, so I think here's one of the things I think about is, you know, one of the challenges that this show creates is that, and I think anytime you do something with regularity, creates is there are always going to be times when that doesn't work. And so I almost wonder if we set the first date and then say, okay, what is the next date? You know, because at some point we're going to get close to spring and that's going to be a lot more challenging for me.
How about 8 a.m. every Friday, we get on a call? What's that? 8 a.m. Friday, every week we get on a call.
And why don't we just do the show 8 a.m. Friday every morning? No, just kidding. Here's my thought.
Go ahead.
Let's get together on your birthday.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a Sunday.
What's that?
It's a Sunday.
Okay.
How about that Monday?
The Monday after. And we'll do our first check-in and check-up,
Okay.
and then we'll make a decision about when the next one should be.
Okay. What time? Monday the 18th. See, this is it. And for those of you, what we're doing is modeling the actually putting it on the calendar.
Well, that's one of the things I was with a group of nonprofit leaders yesterday, and I said that, it was a comment that I made on this show a while ago that I think somebody shared with me is, do you prioritize your calendar, or do you schedule your priorities? So this is an example of scheduling our priorities.
Right.
So the 18th, looks like I'm fairly open. Do you want to meet for lunch?
Yes, that's a great idea. The usual place?
What's that?
The usual place?
What's the usual place?
The one out in Jarrettsville or Jackson.
Oh, the Creamery?
Yeah, the
or whatever
Creamery.
that place is. Is it open in the winter? I think it is.
Yeah, it's open. Yeah, of course.
All right.
Now we'll get all these people coming out. It'll be party. Creamery will love us.
They'll
Hey,
love
we want to sponsor your show now.
That's right. That doesn't exist anymore. Sorry.
Well,
Finally get a chance to get a sponsor after all that shilling we did for sponsors.
That's right. Are you going to continue the program? Do you know?
I'm not sure about that. I'm still figuring that out.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It'd be weird in some ways, and in other ways, it's I have always enjoyed the title. I think that the title of it to me was effective and was kind of like, okay, it's not here's your day message of the day or your word of the week, but it's like here's hopefully something that'll impact each person each day differently, and that it would have some impact that they could appreciate. And obviously,
and a cure to a problem or a challenge, which
correct.
is where we got the name, because it was COVID. There's no cure for COVID
At the time,
here's an antidote for us in dealing with it day to day.
Yes. So that was, I think that is something that has appealed to me.
I think it's also kind of worn out.
You think it's worn out?
I think the title's reached its expiration date. I really do.
Why do you say that?
Because I just, it's tied to me to COVID.
Okay. So you don't have any more challenges on a daily basis anymore that you might need an antidote for?
No, perfect.
You're good to go.
That's right. That's why I tell you at 7 a.m. every morning. Everything's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think if that phrase ever came out in any of those 7 a.m. discussions.
If it hasn't, it should have in the last couple months.
Okay. Yeah, you might have said that.
In one regard, absolutely.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. It hasn't, yeah. Those
Here's the other thing. The other thing I liked about it is it forced me, because many a time, like you said, we were talking about things that we were dealing with often at the same time. And so it would force me to start my day off coming up with an antidote for some of the challenges that I was considering overnight or over the last few days. And I think that clarity made it easier to then move forward with whatever was in front of me. And I think many of those conversations have helped me crystallize a little bit, or at least clarify some positions. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, I think when you think about regret is the only reason there's regret is because you're judging the decision that you made. If I was going to go back and say the one big outside of being real, which I really, that has had a significant impact on me when we started talking about being real rather than right or wrong. I think the whole idea of the little value that judgment provides to us or to others. And, if I take away those couple of things, the clarity to figure that out. And I think the only way you figure it out is you talk about it and you keep talking about it and you test it and see if it still has the impact you thought it did initially. And so the opportunity to do some of that has really, this show has helped me clarify some of those beliefs and thoughts and ideas, which will go on, and I use them all the time in my work, to the point where I think some people, if they ever hear me multiple times, will be like, "Would he get off this it's real thing and there's no such thing as right or wrong?"
Only the check-in, check-up gang.
Yeah, right, because they've heard it for
Because
900.
I made a reference yesterday. I said it my way, and then I said, of course, if Tom was here, he'd say it this way, and they all laughed.
Sure. So, I mean, I think the challenge we have is that we are so afraid of making choices and making change, that because we know that we're going to judge it, and we're going to judge it immediately and not give it time to see how the results might change. And I think the less we do of that, the more we are going to be able to accept and move forward with the change that happens.
I see a comment from Stephen. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching your presentations. Thank you, Stephen. That's really kind. And now I see my sister Beth has joined us for last time. Good morning, Bob and Tom. She got that right. Bob first. Thanks for providing me entertainment and knowledge. I needed to get through a tough time in my life. Good luck to you both. She says it like she'll never see me again.
She might not ever see me again. I mean,
I miss and love you guys.
So maybe that was directed more at me.
Take care. My mornings won't be the same. You were my breakfast companions every morning. You make me laugh and cry. And with that, I've got to say one thing. Adam, get up. Go to school. Damn it. Go to school.
Did you say damn it on the show?
I did.
I think the FCC is going to shut us down.
I think it's the Facebook police.
There you go.
FCC's minor. And Kelly chimes in with, this has been so wonderful for me. Thank you. I got a lot out of it. And Kelly sent me a really nice note the other day, and we're going to stay in touch. I think there's some opportunities there.
Have you made a plan for that, or are you going to say you're going to stay in touch and then not stay in touch?
That does sound like me. See, that's the beauty of coaching, right? That's what coaching is. If you for 950 episodes heard us talk about coaching and wondered what it is, it's Tom questioning me because he knows me and he knows what I've said to him. Not saying I'm right or wrong, just saying, hey, is what you just said what you're going to do, or do you remember what you told me earlier that you don't reach out to people? Which you is it?
What's real?
I think if you're wondering what coaching looks like, and Tom would be happy to coach you, I'd be happy to talk about coaching you. That can be so powerful because it makes you actually own up to yourself and be accountable. So yes, I need to be consistently reaching out to Kelly. I will pledge to do that.
Excellent. All right. For the last time, Bob, do you have your one thing?
Yes. This has been one of the most interesting, exciting, and valuable experiences of my life. I can't thank you enough for agreeing to do it, because I remember that day where I kind of threw it out there and you're like, well, and I kind of cajoled you into it. And your friendship through it all has been invaluable. I don't think I would have gotten, I said last night, I wouldn't have gotten through the last 3.5, 4 years without you being there. And I mean that sincerely. It's been lots of ups and downs, and you've weathered the storm well. You've been the anchor for the ship.
Sometimes
many times.
Sink ships.
What's that?
I said sometimes anchors sink ships. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Jack says, thanks for sharing your thoughts, guys. It's helped me feel more confident to address my daily challenges.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's the highest form of praise I think we can get. That's been our goal from day one. Giving people the tools they need to be more successful. So my one thing is thank you for everything you've done, and for everyone who has listened, who's contributed, who said nice things to us on the program, off the program. To the people that challenged us and what we said, I respect them a lot. They really forced us to think through some things. Certainly. How about you? What's your one thing?
I think my one thing is I would ditto a lot of what you just said, and not the other word. And I would hope, I think one of the things that we have done is shared our value in an effort to hopefully have an impact on someone else's knowledge, experience, or perspective. And so my one thing is I hope you will all take whatever you have gained from us and other things that you knew before ever hearing us speak and share that value with others. So I hope that they would model what we did, and that if we were able to provide to you some value, that you're able to share some of that value and the value that you have with others so that they might be able to continue to take their next step, which is kind of what this was all about. Is how do we help people take their next step so they're not stuck, frustrated, uncertain, or mostly stuck, because I think many of us get stuck often. And so I hope you go out and share that message.
Stephen says, my one thing, don't be afraid to make a comeback. Who knows how meta will evolve?
There might not be a more appropriate comment from Stephen than that. So I think that.
That is true. We could always come back to it. You never know.
We could. It's possible. I don't know. We'll see.
Improbable, but possible. Anything's possible.
Yes. Well, and just because this is the last show, I'm going to go out with this. First I'm going to say thanks so much to everybody who's been with us, shared your thoughts and comments, those who have made comments to me that they listen and appreciate the show. And
you'll love this one from Peter. Yes, Peter. Welcome
Peter,
to
you
the
might
party.
have to go back and re-listen to the whole thing to get
go back to the beginning. Yep.
The whole series, not the whole 950 episodes. Just this episode.
And Peter says this, congratulations, a big deal. Yeah.
It's a deal.
And Peter was with us at the very beginning.
Peter was one of our early and
listeners. He is doing awesome stuff. He moved to a new city and he has established a firm footing there. Every time I see his posts, amazing.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being with us. Of course, if you're listening to the podcast, you can always share your thoughts and ideas inside of our Facebook group. Sculpt your business from chaos and confusion to confidence and control. That will continue. The Renegade Success Network will continue. And if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to me. So I'm not going to say we'll see you tomorrow. We'll hope to see you inside of that Facebook group. Otherwise, go out and enjoy your day.
Hey, whatever you do, folks, for last time, I'm going to tell you this, and I mean it sincerely. It's a game changer. Embrace the renegading you. It is so worth it.
Yes, it is. And if Bob can embrace the renegade in him by doing this, you can do it as well. All right, everyone, go out and enjoy your day. We will still
see you soon.
We'll see you somewhere soon.
That's right.
All right, everyone, enjoy the day.